Hi there, thanks so much for coming by to check out my channel today. I want to talk about chromatics because this is a really fun way to add some spice to your playing. I'm always looking for ways that are easy to understand and implement, something that can make your tired licks come alive, you know? So chromatics, that's just a fancy way of saying half steps. The most common application for this that you may be doing already is the blues scale. The only difference between the pentatonic and the blues is that one note that connects in between the 4 and the 5. Normally pentatonic sounds like this. When we connect that 4 to the 5 with the flat fifth in between, already that has a lot more vibe to it. I love the sound of it. So chromatics can do a couple of things for us. They can, think about a story for a second. If we are telling a story, chromatics may not be the main point, but maybe just something along the lines leading up to the point of the story, which, might sound something like this. So there, I'm landing on that chromatic tone, but it's more in a passing manner. I'm not emphasizing it too much. It's just kind of in the story, not the main point. Another way we can think about this is by landing on that tone, that flat fifth in this example, is going to kind of give this feeling like, whoa, what was that? For some people, that might be sour. For some people, that might be, ugh. For some people, it might be just the right thing you're looking for. This is more landing on that directly. So there, I started on the flat fifth. And one thing that you should know when you're working on this stuff is where you put it in relation to the beat really has an impact for how it's going to come across. So if you want to be subtle, we want to sneak these things in. So if you're playing some eighth notes, playing some of those chromatic tones on the and might be a good place to start. And if you're playing in 16th notes, somewhere that's not on the 1 is going to make a lot of sense. So on the E, maybe the and, or maybe the da would be a good place for these things. So a cool way to start using these things is to fill in the gaps, of course, of the scales you already use. I'm a big fan of 3-note per string patterns when I'm trying to travel a greater distance. Now that may sound a little strange, but when I'm going from a point A to a point B, that's not melodic playing. I oftentimes favor 3-note patterns. We'll get to that in a future video, but for right now, I'm going to take this Dorian example because I think this will help you to visualize and use this stuff a little quicker. So here's your normal 3-note per string configuration of the Dorian mode. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in some of these gaps. So starting from 10, which is the root of the scale, I'm going to go up chromatically to the 13. Now on the next string, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to go 10, 12, and then fill in chromatically to what's going to be the natural 6th of the scale. I'll do the same thing for the next string, the D string. Same thing again. And then the last 2 strings, I'm going to go 12 all the way up to 15 chromatically. Now that's a cool way of going about chromatics when applying them as passing tones. So another way that we can go here is to think about neighbor tones for a second. Neighbor tones, just a fancy way of saying the tones that are below by a half step or above by a half step in a key that you're already playing, or chord you're already playing. If we were doing an arpeggio, I'll just take a simple D minor triad. I'm going to first play the note that belongs in the chord, and then I'm going to follow that up with the note that doesn't. So it's kind of a jazzier, funkier way of dealing with the chords. We can apply this to major, minor, dominant. It doesn't really matter. It's all going to give a very cool result pretty much automatically. One more way that you can use this stuff is to think about playing a grouping of notes like this. So what I'm doing there is I'm starting on a scale tone, and I'm going to go backwards a little bit. So if I'm thinking of this as a 16th note phrase, I'm going 1, E, and It's got a kind of a cool weaving in and out of the tonality sound to it. So all I'm doing there is making sure that when I hit that chromatic tone, that it's on the and. So when we shift our emphasis, again, this is going to make it either jump out more or maybe be covered up a little bit more, sound a little bit more natural. Try that out and see how that works in your playing. See what you like. Do you like it better on the beat or off the beat? Let me know in the comments below. Here are a couple licks to get you started on this stuff. So again, I'm thinking D Dorian for right now. I'm going to start on the 9th, which is going to be this E note. And I'm going to come back to the 4th string, 12, 11, 12. Going up a half step now on the 3rd string, so now on the flat 3rd, which is 10. Over to 14, 13, 14 on the 4th string. Up to 12 on the 3rd string now, 12, and then back down to the 4th string. And I'm going to go 15, 14, back up to 15. And I'm going to do kind of a triplet here thing, or I'm sorry, 32nd. Those notes are going to be on the 3rd string, 14, 13, 12, sliding down to 10, down to 12 on the 4th string, and then 12, 10, on the 3rd string, all together. So here's a fun one that's based off of a B major 7th sound. So it may sound kind of crazy, but really it's an arpeggio with some chromatic passing tones. Let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm starting this line on the 5th string, 12th fret, hammer on pull off between 12 and 15. So that's from the 7th of the chord to the 9th and back to the 7th up to the root. Back up to the 9th. Next string is going to be chromatic passing from the 3rd of the chord all the way up to the 5th. I should mention that these are 16th note triplets that I'm playing, so 6 notes to a beat. After that portion, I'm going to start on the 3rd string now, very similarly, because I'm going to start the same way I started the line now here on the 3rd string. So that's going to be from the major 7th up to the 9th of the chord again. Frets are going to be hammer pull between 14 and 17. Filling in the gaps with some hammer-ons. 15, 16, 17. Next string down is going to be 15, 17, 18, and then chromatic from 14 all the way up to 17 to finish the line. So that line will work over a B flat major, or certainly over a D minor tonality, and maybe even other places, but I'll let you figure that out on your own. I so hope you're having some fun with this stuff. I know it can be a little tricky to negotiate at first, but trust me, it's worth sticking with it. If there's any way I can help further, definitely leave me a comment what you're dealing with below. If you're having fun, you want to let me know about it, well, I'd love to hear from you as well. And as always, if you have an idea for a future video, something you want to see me get in depth with, be sure to let me know about it. Maybe even consider hitting that like button if you enjoyed it, share them with a friend, and consider subscribing if you want more of this stuff every single week. Looking forward to seeing you here next time. Thanks for stopping by.